What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Grady. I have a beard. I talk about country music. If you're new here, you should hit the subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for being a returning subscriber. This channel's grown a lot in the last couple weeks, and it's been really fun making these. And I'm going to keep doing it because I enjoy it and you enjoy it, and that's awesome. Today I'm going to make another one of these country chatter videos. You all really liked the first one, and they're kind of a mix of country music news and conversations that people are having within the industry and within the fan community. And they're also recommendations of stuff that I've really been enjoying and liking to listen to, and stuff that you've told me to listen to. So let's get started. Today I want to talk about Sam Hunt's Body Like a Back Road. This is a very polarizing song for a lot of reasons. But I want to say up front, this is not going to be a Sam Hunt hate video, okay? The people that are coming to support him and defend him, I don't need to hear it. I'm not a hater of Sam Hunt. I actually really like Montevallo. Now, do I think it's a country record? No. And that's going to be what we are talking about today. Because, yeah, I actually think genre matters. At least a little bit. This song has been #1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart for over 2 months, and now it's #1 on the country airplay chart that measures country radio airplay. It's also always in the top 50 on Spotify's top 50 in the US, which is very, very rare for a country song. You never hear that. Now, what's weird about all this? This isn't a country song. This is a pop song. And I know there's been poppy elements of country music for 20 years, but this is like another level. This is just not even hiding the fact that it's not a country song. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so Body Like a Back Road features some elements that maybe you could argue are kind of organic. The snapping, maybe. The guitar, a little bit. There's something that sounds like a tambourine a little later in the song. But otherwise, it's synths, it's electronic drums, it's a chorus of hey, hey, hey in the background, and it sounds more like Love Yourself by Justin Bieber kind of than any country song I've ever heard. I mean, Sam Hunt does have a southern accent, and he's talking about back roads, but, I mean, he's mostly talking about sex, but he mentions the word back road, and I know those are things people associate with country, but if a southern accent got you a country credit, then Miley Cyrus would be a country artist, you know? And in some ways, she is more country than a lot of country artists now. So it's a pop song, and it's a good pop song, but I think it matters to say this is a pop song. Why does that matter? Well, let's talk about it. We've all heard of Monsanto. Monsanto is that company that buys up the patents of seeds, and they're hugely reviled within culture because they slap down independent farmers and independent farms from growing their own strains of corn and saying, you know what, actually we own the type of corn that is legally sold, and so this is the only strain of corn that is allowed to exist. People hate Monsanto because variety is extremely important, and it's extremely good for the food industry. If we only have one strain of corn, well, guess what happens? If that strain gets sick, well, then there's no corn on earth for the rest of our time. And so it's important to have different strains. It keeps life vibrant. It keeps flavors different. It keeps a scope of food in existence. I'm editing the video now, and I just feel like I didn't make this point super clearly. I only brought up Monsanto to say that there's something inherent in us that distrusts a destruction of variety and making everything sound or look all as one thing. I don't know. I don't feel like I articulated that well, and it wasn't coming across in this next part. People that would argue the same thing is happening in the music industry, and that while it feels extremely liberating to erase all genre lines, it's actually for the bad of music, because when country starts to blend into pop, starts to blend into rap, starts to blend into R&B, well, suddenly, even though it feels like we're getting all this new stuff, we might actually be getting way less variety than we think. That's a theory that people call the Mono Shondra, that everything is just melding into one boring vanilla pot of music. And that's why we're seeing artists like the Chainsmokers and Florida Georgia Line collaborating, and then those productions are going to be on the Hot Country playlist on Spotify. Now listen, I'm all about artists doing what they want, going where they want, making the sounds that they want. This is not a condemnation of Sam Hunt for making poppy music. This is a condemnation of the categorization that the entire industry is taking, where they're taking a song that doesn't sound like anything within the canon of country music history and just saying it's country. Now, the label matters a little bit because we want to preserve variety. Because if variety disappears, then culture gets less interesting. I really do believe that. That doesn't mean that we have to say, Sam Hunt, you can't make this kind of music. Everyone can do what they want. But why are we calling it country? It seems like it's just a way to make money. To continue with the food metaphor, let's say you go to a grocery store and you are looking for bananas, okay? And you go into the grocery store, and as you're walking through the dairy section, you find, wait a second, there are bananas hanging on the shelf right here beside the yogurt and the cottage cheese. And so you ask a clerk, hey, why are bananas here and they're over in produce? And they say, oh, well, you know what? We decided to start calling bananas dairy because we just find we sell more bananas that way. And you'd be like, that's so weird, but they're not dairy. And he'd be like, yeah, but, we're calling them dairy because people just might pick them up over here. That's an argument that is made in country music all the time, where it's like, who cares if other formats are playing our songs? It lifts the tide for everybody. I kind of get that. That makes sense from a business standpoint. But what it also does is it moves the center of what the format can sound like. Okay, so let's say you've got two poles within country music and the sound of country music. And over here is the most traditional, most country sound, and over here is the least traditional. And this pole is like, maybe a plucking banjo, and this pole is maybe like a big electronic drum beat during the bridge of a song. And those are the sounds that can coexist within country radio. This is the spectrum. Because radio doesn't love that many different sounds. It's all about getting you to keep listening, so they like to keep it consistent. So, if, over here used to be Taylor Swift, and that was the most poppy sound that could be tolerated on country radio. But now Sam Hunt comes along, and you get all these kind of like this hip-hop R&B beat, then suddenly this pole starts to go way over here. So this pole needs to kind of move over to catch up. And that means that, okay, now banjo's out, now just a strumming acoustic guitar is the most country sound we can have on country radio. So that means that we're going to lose out on some of the more traditional elements because radio's not going to be willing to play it because the format would just break. That means, suddenly, even though country's theoretically expanding, we're actually wiping out all sorts of instruments. We're not going to hear dobro, we're not going to hear banjo, all these other things. That's a bummer, okay? That's a real concern because in the name of expanding a format, they're shrinking it, and it's a lie, okay? And so that's why I think Body Like a Back Road needs to be called what it is, which is a pop song. That's starting to happen. It's starting to take off on the pop charts. I think it should be labeled pop. We should consider it pop. And I think that calling it country is a farce. And I think that it's going to actually hurt the variety of music. Is this the biggest problem in the world? Certainly not. I get that, okay? I get that there are bigger issues in the world than arguing about genre, and that arguing about genre is the least cool thing on earth, but I think it matters just a little bit. Because if all of these types of sounds we become unaccustomed to hearing, then people don't want to hear them anymore. We are scientifically opposed to variety. That's why we don't enjoy hearing a range of voices nearly as big as we used to. That's why a reedy voice like Iris DeMent grates on our ears despite how amazing she is.
Think out the chest, let the mystery be.
We become conditioned to the exact parameters that are presented to us every day. So if we only hear bros singing over a hip-hop beat in a very small range of notes, that becomes what we prefer to hear. That becomes the sound of country music because it's under the moniker country music. That eliminates a lot of variety. And so I think the naming matters here. It's a sad reality of life that labels matter, but labels kind of matter. I want to hear what you guys think about this. I know it's a weird issue, and I know that in 2017, no one wants to talk about anything having to do with any tradition, and it's all about destroying every cultural bedrock that we have, as if somehow that is inherently virtuous in and of itself. I don't really agree with that. Sorry. Okay, I spent a long time on that, and so the next part of this that I want to do is talk about some albums that I've been listening to this week and really enjoying. First thing I want to talk about is Angaleena Presley's Wrangled. This is an album. Angaleena Presley, if you don't know, is a great solo artist. She's one of the members of the Pistol Annies, along with Miranda Lambert and Ashley Monroe. And this is a fearsome, angry album from her. I think she's kind of said, F you to country radio, I'm not playing the game anymore, and she's very incendiary toward the industry in some ways. The first song opens with the Pistol Annies, and it's called Dreams Don't Come True. It's freaking hilarious, but it's extraordinarily cynical. It's like, I thought I'd be like Elvis with lipstick and boobs, but dreams don't come true. It made me chuckle a lot. She's got such rough edges to her. The last song, the one I'm playing right now, is called Motel Bible. I really like this song a lot. And she's like, she's talking about her experience of faith, honestly. She's like, I got motel Bibles, Holy Spirits, and Amazing Grace. And so she's talking about liquor. There's a real rawness and realness to her. You kind of get why, like, oh, here's why someone like Miranda Lambert and Ashley Monroe would want to write with someone like Angaleena. They have a similar sort of sense of humor, but she's definitely the most kind of extreme and rough about it. Now, there's a song in here called Country that features Yellow Wolf, who's a rapper. He's signed by Eminem. He's from Alabama. It takes this like very interesting place within the world of hip hop. But this is a song that's not a country song, but it is extraordinarily angry about the country industry. Yellow Wolf says in this song, now we got no Hank and Johnny, no Waylon playing, no Dwight Yoakam on radio, just a crazy load of these country posers. I suppose a couple of them are real, but they'll never make it, so thank God for Sturgill Simpson, because Music Row can fucking save it. I sort of love that this is not a country song that's criticizing country music and Music Row, because it's arguing in that way that the main thing they're fighting against is a lack of honesty and a derivativeness in the lyrics and a pandering to culture. If I made the argument that there's a problem with a dishonest sound in Sam Hunt's Body Like a Back Road, in this case I'm saying, these guys are saying, there's a problem with dishonest writing and dishonest personas within Nashville. So I think it's a really cool song. I think it's an angry album. Some of it's very washed out for me, but it's interesting, if nothing else. It's like a little cultural artifact. Okay, next album I want to talk about is Charlie Worsham's The Beginning of Things. This is his second album. I was really a big fan of Rubber Band, and there's a lot of the similar vibes on this second album. And he seems like a guy that is kind of being marketed as like more a top-shelf country artist. He's signed to a major label, but they don't seem particularly worried about country radio airplay. And I think he's at his best when he's making really kind of like earnest, light delivery things. That's sort of his vibe. So I think Cut Your Groove is a really good song. That's the debut single. I think Southern by the Grace of God is really good. I think the title track is really good. There's a few moments on here where it feels like, are these like demos for like Luke Bryan or something? That song Birthday Suit? I don't get it. It's like not rocking or dirty enough for the words of it. And it doesn't work for me. And but on the whole, I think this is a nice album. Last album I really want to talk about today is Jason Eady's sixth album, and it's self-titled Jason Eady. I actually was reminded to listen to this album because I was tweeting about 21 Pilots on Twitter, and Courtney Patton, who's Jason's wife, sent a little message back and said that her and Jason love 21 Pilots, and I was like, I knew I liked you guys. So I checked out this album because I had heard people say it was really good, and dang, it's really good. If you're someone that likes good songwriting, I mean, this is for you. All the other instrumentation really gets out of the way of the songwriting in this case. The melodies are very simple and nice. Why I Left Atlanta is the song I'm listening to now, and I love this song. It's just kind of about a breakup and being like traveling out of Georgia. Barabbas is a gorgeous song that asks you to kind of imagine yourself as the person that was set free so Jesus could get killed. That's like a pretty, that feeling of like guilt and needing to make something of yourself is pretty powerful and universal in a weird way. And man, there's so many good songs in here. Let me look at the track list again. Black Jesus, I love that song. It's not political. It sounds political. It's not political. It's about unity, really. This is a gorgeous album. I need to listen to it a few more times. I'm not going to say I have a mastery of every song on it, but I really, really recommend it, and it's fun to kind of, it's a thoughtful listen. So if you're going on a big drive and you don't have a podcast to listen to or something, I'd throw on Jason Eady's album and just absorb the lyrics, because it's a really beautiful look into his mind and the nuances with which he sees the world and the way he thinks. And it's great Texas, nice country. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this week's Country Chatter. Thanks for checking it out. Hit like if you enjoyed that. Hit subscribe if you're new here. I make a bunch of videos all the time, and I'm getting in the habit now of shooting a batch at once, so I'm not stressed out trying to think about how do I make enough content for every single, to post every couple days. And that's been going pretty well. A bunch of videos have been doing really well, like the Scotty McCreery reaction, that's above 1,000. The Faith Hill, Tim McGraw one, that's at like 3,000. Lauren Elena just crossed 1,000. The Stapleton ones are on the rise. That first Carrie Underwood one is doing really well. And it got enough likes that I'm going to do a Carrie Underwood Wednesday and listen to a cover of hers until I run out of them every Wednesday, because people seem to want those. So let me know more reactions. This channel is ever evolving, but it's focused on hopefully smart conversation about country music. So let me know what you want to hear. Let me know your thoughts on the whole Sam Hunt, should it be considered a pop song? Maybe there's not a clean solution to that, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Alright guys, that's it this time, and I will see you soon with another video. Okay, bye.